technical support application that we built in our last semester here at Rankin Technical College. Let's see. First up, we got acquainted with the model view controller pattern. Uh, it's the main architecture of the application. It keeps everything neat and tidy and easy to maintain. Next, we played around with the models, the controllers, and the views in ASP.NET Core. Uh, it was like assembling a puzzle with our app's data, with the requests and the data display all fitting together perfectly. Now, we also got into some validation because nobody likes messy data, right? That's why we mastered data validation using data annotations. Uh, think of it like a bouncer in our app's data. It keeps everything accurate and valid. We also got friendly with Entity Framework Core, which is a handy tool that lets us talk to our database without the headache of writing raw SQL queries. It's like having our own data whisperer, if you will. Now, we also had fun with some client-side tech like JavaScript, jQuery, Bootstrap. It made our apps more interactive and responsive. And also, we got into ASP.NET Core Identity, which helped us ensure that our app's users are the real deal and only authorized folks can access certain features. Um, and last but not least, we ventured into the clouds, if you will, with Azure. It's like having a team of superheroes that help build and deploy and manage our app on a global scale, if you so choose. In a nutshell, this semester was a blast, and we gained some essential web development skills with ASP.NET Core. Hopefully, these new powers will serve us well in our future projects and careers. Thanks for listening. So, what are what is MVC architecture and its benefits? Well, let's dive into that. So, MVC is all about separation of concerns. Each component is like in this design pattern takes care of a specific aspect of our app. Uh, First up, we have our models. Think of this as like the brains of the operation, representing data and business logic, which goes into the view. And you can think of this as like the pretty face that everyone sees, that displays all the data and where you can see all the elements and so forth. And finally, the controller. Think of this as like a switchboard or like a conductor of an orchestra. All it does is manage user input, and it sets and flow the how the application should perform. Now, as far as the architecture, what's so great about it? Well, for one, you get an improved maintainability. Update and manage individual components is a breeze, just like updating or changing the tires on a tricycle or a bike, whatever. Two, you get enhanced testability. With isolated components, testing becomes easy as pie. I mean, who doesn't love pie, seriously? And last, the scalability. Like the modular design supports growth and expansion, kind of like a well-planned city. Okay, so building an application with ASP.NET Core. Uh, Starting with the models, these are like the superheroes of data and business logic. They define our data, structure, and relationships, and they're in charge of validation and handling business rules. Think of them as the guardians of the app galaxy. Cringe, I know. Next up is the controller. These bad boys manage input and application flow. They define action methods to respond to user requests, like a friendly traffic cop directing app traffic. Controllers determine which views to display and pass along data, making sure everything runs smoothly. And finally, we have the views. These are the artists of the bunch, displaying the data and user interface elements. They use what is called Razor syntax to create dynamic HTML markup, and that's as elegant as a ballet dancer. To make our lives easier, views implement layouts and partial views for reusability so we can mix and match like a pro Lego builder, if you will. We also had to implement some data validation. Validation is like the watchful guardian of our apps, ensuring data correctness and preventing any sneaky security issues. And luckily, we've got a couple of trusty sidekicks for this mission: server side validation and client side validation. For the server side validation, we used data annotations and model validation. Data validations are like little sticky notes we attach to our models that enforce validation rules, for example, like required or string length, and so on and so forth. Model validation then checks if the user's inputted data is up to snuff with what is called model state dot is valid. But of course, we didn't stop there. We also implemented some client-side validation. So client-side validation is used to improve the user experience and lighten the server's load. It's like a superhero's friendly neighborhood sidekick, if you will. We use jQuery validation, which is a JavaScript library for form validation, to make our forms extra secure and user-friendly. And if we needed something special, we were able to implement custom validation, which let us create our own validation rules and error messages so our app is as unique and well protected as a rare comic book collection. Data access with Entity Framework Core. Now, Entity Framework Core is an object relational mapping tool for .NET that simplifies database access and CRUD operations like a pro. It's got your back with support for multiple database providers such as SQL Server, MySQL, and PostgreSQL. One nifty feature is the code-first approach. We define our models first, and it generates the database schema almost like magic. It's like building a Lego set without the need for any instructions. We create model classes that represent database tables and use migrations to apply any changes to the database schema. Oh, but that's not all. When it comes to querying data, we can also use LINQ, the language integrated query. It let us retrieve and manipulate data in a type-safe manner, making us feel like code wizards. And finally, we have dbset, which represents a collection of entities for querying and saving data like a friendly librarian that always knows where to find the right book. Okay, enhancing user experience with client-side technology. First up, we have JavaScript, which is our trusty sidekick for adding interactivity and manipulating the DOM elements. It's like having a magic wand that brings our app to life. Next up was jQuery, which is a popular JavaScript library that helps with DOM manipulation, AJAX, event handling, things like that. Plus, it integrates seamlessly with our ASP.NET Core MVC applications. Now, last up is Bootstrap, which is the secret ingredient for easy responsive design and snazzy UI. It's all about taking the mobile-first and responsive design, which ensures that our app will look fabulous on pretty much any device. Bootstrap provides pre-built components that speed up development like a turbocharged race car. Securing your application with ASP.NET Core Identity. First, we have authentication, the process of verifying user identity. We used ASP.NET Core Identity for user management, which made it easy to implement sign up, sign in, password reset, that kind of stuff. It's like having a bouncer at the door that checks IDs and it keeps the riffraff out, if you know what I mean. Next up is authorization, which controls the user access to resources. We define roles and permissions, it's like assigning like superpowers to our app's users. To restrict access, we use attributes like authorize, making sure that only the right people can access the certain features that they're looking for. In a nutshell, ASP.Core Net Identity helps us secure our applications by verifying user identity and controlling access to resources. And last but not least, uh, we use cloud to simplify deployment. Um, we use Azure to simplify deployment with Visual Studios. Um, to publish our apps in ASP.NET Core, first we had to create an Azure App Service in the portal. Next, we had to configure all of our data and deployment settings in Visual Studios. And finally, we had to publish our application directly from Visual Studios. And that was it. Just like that, we were live on the internet. So, what did you enjoy most about oh, what did you enjoy most about ASP.NET MVC? Well, I found that working with authentication authorization to be an absolute delight. Uh, ASP.NET Core Identity made user management a breeze that allowed me to easily add sign up, sign in, and password recovery, that type of stuff. It's like having your own personal security guard, keeping things safe. Fine tuning access was also a piece of cake. I could define roles and permissions to shape each user's experience, and using attributes like authorized, we were able to secure specific actions and views in no time. The framework's extensibility allowed me to customize authentication and authorization to suit my needs. But the cherry on top was the peace of mind. Knowing that my app and user data were secured, I could trust the robust security features of ASP.NET Core Identity and focus on building great features while the framework took care of the rest. And last but not least, what hurdles did you have to overcome? Validation for me ended up turning out to be the most significant challenge. First, had to understand the importance of validation to ensure that data correctness and ensuring data correctness and preventing security vulnerabilities. Uh, Grasping the difference between server-side and client-side validation was also crucial. I needed to learn how each type contributed to my application, which required some effort. Implementing server-side validation was definitely demanding, as I had to familiarize myself with various data annotation attributes like requires, string length, and understand what model state dot is valid checks and does. Mastering the client side validation was essential for enhancing user performance and experience with real time feedback. Lastly, troubleshooting validation issues was a whole other obstacle. Debugging validation logic and configuration tested my problem solving skills for sure. Um, and that's pretty much it. There's a link to the GitHub, and there will be a code demo to follow. Okay, we'll just transition right into it. As you can see, we are live on the internet. Upon arriving at the website, you are met with a login screen, a lovely nav bar, which I should demonstrate first. Well, I should log out first. I should demonstrate that most of these routes, unless you are logged in, you do not have permission to be in them or view them. Only things like the register page, like you may expect, the login page, or the about page are visible to an anonymous user. But that's about where it stops. Any feature beyond that, you are quickly prompted for a password. So I will log in here. Alright, we'll click Don't Save. Okay, once you log in, you see this screen. You are met with a welcome admin in the nav bar to verify that you are logged in. Also, the login button becomes a log out button now. And as you could tell, now all these routes are available to you. So starting with manage products, Here we have a basic list of a few products that are in our database. Here we can add a product. Let's write in a code. Basketball. We'll do $12. And sure, the release date sounds good. And there it is, it's entered. And we have a nice little toast notification saying that the basketball was edited. Here, if we decided we had made a mistake somewhere, for example, the basketball is actually $8, we could just come in and edit and click save. And once again, we get the notification saying that it was edited, and here it is in the table proving such. And let's say we didn't need the basketball whatsoever. We can just come in here and hit delete. We're prompted to confirm the deletion. It sounds good to me. Delete, and it is no longer visible here. And once again, we get that notification saying that an action has taken place. Here we have a list of technician, very similar to the products. We can enter Bob at AOL.com. Bob's phone number is 314-333. And Bob is now in our database. And same with the products. We can change Bob's name if we need to. Bobbington. There he is, Bob Bobbington. And turned out Bob wasn't as good of a tech as we thought, so unfortunately we had to let him go. See you, Bob. We got the same thing going on here for customers. Let's add one. Spell my own last name right. So you pick a country, email. All right, I've added myself to the database, and let's show that it can be edited. And there you go. And ultimately, I can also delete myself. And then incidents as well. Here, also, we introduced a bit of filtering. Now the way this works, if there is an incident that is unassigned or open, it gets moved into its own filtered table. For example, right now we don't have any unassigned incidents or any open incidents, but if we come in here and we just take out this date closed date, presumably now this should that should go into open incidents, because since we removed that date closed, it switched to an open status. Now, also here we have an unassigned incident. Well, let's see, any one of these incidents, let's say I go in here and actually does not have a technician assigned to it, it will move over here to unassigned incidents, as you would expect. Now, if we wanted to get rid of that incident altogether, confirm deletion, and there we go, it's gone. And then last but not least, we have this registrations form, which we can select a customer. Let's say, like this young lady. Select her. Oh, currently she only has one product registered to her. Well, we can go through our drop-down list of products. Let's say she wants to register the League Scheduler 1.0. And simple as that. This product is now linked to this person in the database. And like the other routes, if you so choose, you may delete the data as well. But this is only, I should mention, this is, if you notice, I am logged in here as admin. Only the admin has these permissions. If I were to, let's say, just register a new account, first off, if I don't enter any data, I'm met with validation errors saying that these fields need to be filled. So let's just create a mock username without admin capabilities or permissions. Don't save. Log in, welcome test. Okay. If we try to go to any of these routes, we are met with access denied, because this account we just created is just an anonymous account. They only have rights to see, well, actually no page, only the about page. They could change their password, but that's about it.